All right. It looks like we are live, my friend. Welcome back, my friend, Mr. Trent Gander.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, heck yeah. So, let's see here. Now, we're going to figure out all this crap. All right. So, this is another episode of the Unframe of Mind Show, live version this time. We're going to try something a little different this time, and I had to kind of figure this out on the fly. So, just bear with me and we'll get it figured out eventually. Today, I have a few little things I want to talk about, but before I get started, let me go ahead and make sure I'm sharing this link out with everybody that might be interested in watching this. So, and next time I may have this set up a little bit better so I can actually reach the keyboard.
So the links for sharing are going to be on the right side. On the bottom? All right, you got them.
Right. There's the link for that on YouTube, Facebook. Does this thing automatically share, or do I have to tell it to share on like Twitter and stuff?
I always tell it to share.
I'll have to share it myself?
That's what I usually do.
Okay.
It'll appear on your station on YouTube automatically as you're being live, but everywhere else you have to manually do that unless you link the accounts.
I started a live stream on YouTube 2 minutes ago. Yep, it did it on its own. So
nice.
That.
There is that.
And then I started one 12 minutes ago. So we're going to delete that tweet because that don't make any damn sense. And we'll delete the other one that I read. Okay, I think we got it now. All right.
Welcome to live television, everyone.
This is entertaining. And I mean, it's about as entertaining as my show is right now. So I completely understand if you're not interested in watching this any longer. At any rate. Yeah. So I was wanting to try to do a live Wednesday show, or I'm not really sure the night of the week just yet. Figured we'd try Wednesday for a few weeks and see how that goes. And if for whatever reason Wednesday doesn't seem to work out, I'll switch the days and we'll find something that works for everybody. But that being said, I thought it'd be fun to do a live show because there's so many things that keep happening all the time. So many different topics that keep coming up in the news, and so much stuff I'm studying all the time. Like I'm listening to podcasts for 8 to 9, 10 hours a day on my drive to work, as I'm working, on the way home from work, sometimes here while I'm working on the computer, I'm listening to stuff and I'm trying to learn and absorb. And it's like, there's so much stuff I want to tell everybody. And it's like, I guess. So at any rate, that was the idea here for the live show, is just to be able to kind of go over some of the fun stuff that's been going on the last few weeks and talk about those things. And for this particular episode, I have my friend Trent Gander here, just decided to join me on super short notice. And dude, I really, really appreciate that.
Hey, I gotta help a guy out when he needs it. Otherwise, someone's gonna help me out.
So it's just more fun for me to bounce ideas off of somebody else in a conversational type environment. I have a really hard time staring at a camera and just talking to it as if it's a real person, because that's just fucking strange. At any rate, it would be really nice to know that what I'm saying isn't completely crazy, as it comes out of my mouth. But I'll let you be the judge of that. So I've already discussed with you some of the things I want to talk about on the show today, as far as just this little powwow we're having going on. So just for the audience's sake, I'm going to go back over some of that just so we can kind of get an idea of the direction we're going to go. There's a number of things. I'm just going to rattle them off real quick and then we'll just pick one. So I'm looking at crypto innovation in the coming year. I'm talking about Hillary Huma Aberdeen sex tape rumors. I'm talking about gun violence, false flags, Florida shooter in Parkland, Florida. I'm talking about Rhode Island lawmakers proposing an ISP to block porn and offensive material. So there goes the gambit of that. So if you're interested in any of those particular topics, feel free to hang out, join us, throw us some comments in the comment section, and we'll try to discuss with you. If I don't see your comments, it's because I'm an idiot and haven't figured out how to do this just yet. I know some streamers can see them.
I usually just open it up in another window, turn it on mute, and watch the sidebar.
Oh, you talking about the actual YouTube video?
Yeah.
Oh, let's mute that for sure, because I don't want to hear myself talking twice. That would be fucking strange. Okay. So Oh, it looks like we've already got our first comment from my friend Nicole, who was supposed to have joined us today, but she actually
Hi,
got so
Nicole.
busy with life. But I do appreciate you watching, Nicole. So maybe you can get an idea what you're in for when you're actually on the show, and I got you in the hot seat. So let's go with that. Um, so let me start off with the most fresh topic in my mind because I just heard about it on a podcast earlier today, and they were talking about. I only heard about it in a brief little snippet, but it really stuck in my mind. Let me see what you think about this. Now, there are some Rhode Island lawmakers trying to push a new law that says, okay, we're gonna tell your ISP to block your service from any kind of porno or any kind of offensive materials or anything like that. And if you want to be able to view those things, you have to pay a one-time fee of $20 by writing into your ISP, and then they will give you access to those things. And the money is supposed to help with funding sex trafficking or something like that.
I think that's counterintuitive the way you said it, but personally, viewing porn is more of a moral issue. I leave that up to the individual and their own beliefs. But I'm not a fan of ISPs or literally any regulation that's going to be regulating free speech, which I think there's a few court cases from the Supreme Court that covers pornography underneath free speech. So you may not like it, but you should at least let people who want to watch porn if they want it for free.
So let me read this specific little piece of verbiage for you. Let's see, this is from the State of Rhode Island General Assembly, and it says, okay, it says this act would require internet service providers to provide digital blocking of sexual content and patently offensive material. It would allow consumers to deactivate digital block upon payment of $20 fee. This act would take effect upon passage. For me, the key phrase in that whole thing is the patently offensive material, and I think that's a huge problem because, well, how the hell do you define patently offensive material? My first question is, offensive to who?
Exactly. What offends me doesn't offend other people, and what offends them doesn't really offend me. It's a very amorphous tool in order to pretty much silence anything you don't actually like online. And that's why I'm against it. This is the first I've heard of it, but I hate it with my soul.
Right? I mean, you look at the stuff and you're like, wait a minute. Okay, so the headlines are saying that the Rhode Island ISPs are supposed to be blocking porn usage and you can pay for that. But what they're not specifically mentioning is that second part, which is the real insidious part, is the patently offensive material. And this really feels like a little sneaky backdoor method that lawmakers are trying to use to be able to block, I would say, any kind of wrong think or any kind of conservative thinking that you're not supposed to have in the mainstream now. And that's what it feels like is they're going to try to do this little backdoor thing. And from what I understand, they've tried to do this in a number of states. And if this does pass through, then they can use that as precedent to continue to block other people and other things that fall under the definition of offensive. I mean, what the hell?
Well, it's always about grabbing power. This is definitely a power play, and I'm not surprised. They've been trying to do this for a while. They've done it. It was like just before Trump was elected president, they had talking about ISPs controlling things around the FCC, which should be abolished, by the way. Hi.
So, my friend Nicole here, she says, I don't mind opting in to donate to traffic prevention, but censorship enforced by your ISP is shady ground. And I completely agree. Like I said, that just seems like a really sneaky backdoor way of trying to get something through that could eventually end up in federal court, you know. And I don't see how this doesn't go against your First Amendment, except on the grounds that your ISP might be considered a private entity and has
if the ISP were designing this by itself, I'd probably be moderately okay with it because they are a private entity. You are paying for terms of service that can't change at will according to the ISP, which you've agreed to. However, this is legislation coming from New Jersey and other states forcing a private entity to enforce a public morality.
It's kind of freaky is, I think, the word that I'm thinking of. Anyway, so it seems like my new friend Chris, he says he just woke up and he'll join us shortly, so we can definitely count on him to be here momentarily.
That's good.
So if you could take a moment and go ahead, Trent, if you want to share this particular link to this video out to your friends and get them to watch while we're waiting on Chris for a moment.
If you send it to me through Twitter, I'll disseminate.
Yeah. I'll send you that link right now, and that way you can kind of let your... I'm having a brain fart moment. Okay. Here we go. I need my keyboard a little bit closer, maybe a little different setup. I like standing up for these shows because I feel like I'm a lot more animated and my mind just works more clearly than just sitting down. I don't know. It's just different. But if that's the case, I'm going to have to switch some things around so I can be a little closer. All my other things. Okay, there is the link for the actual live stream right there.
I'll put it out over my various...
Sure, appreciate it.
Social media. Okay.
Sounds so hot.
I'm
gonna just slather it all over my social media. It's like a new metaphor, a new synonym for cock.
Yeah, this is the internet. Everything is slang for everything else, and everything is an innuendo.
Right. Hey, right.
Just when I thought I wasn't going to be doing anything tonight, I have something to do.
Yeah, I kind of have that effect on people. Make them have things to do all of a sudden.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I wasn't planning on having my own show tonight, which is usually the night I do it, but
Well, see, you've already got your recording equipment out, so do you do a live stream?
I do a live stream. It's mainly about video games and role-playing games, but...
Okay. Well, if you want to tell people how to reach you, if you want to do that, maybe throw your comment in the comment section on that link I gave you.
There's a couple of places you can reach me, but I'll do that a bit later. I'm trying to do too many things at once. Really big pain in my butt.
No, I hear you. It's up to you though. If you want to promote your particular website, again, I really appreciate you hopping in and filling the spot on such short notice. At any rate, so I want to try to move on to the next topic here, and if they hop in, then we'll refresh their memory on what's going on. So we've got an issue here. No, I'll tell you what. I want to talk about crypto because I'm very excited about the crypto industry and what it means and what's going on in the near future. I don't know how much you know about this, and quite frankly, you don't have to know anything about it. Just be interested and be curious. That's all I ask. What do you know about crypto? Just out of curiosity.
If I remember correctly, cryptocurrencies are limited resource currencies online entirely, similar to how we use USD via PayPal and our banking system. Only there is not an unlimited supply. They're shared around. They're considered untraceable, kind of like Federal Reserve notes of the internet. So their intrinsic value goes up and down compared to other currencies, and that people don't like them because they're unregulated.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting. You should say that. because I have noticed over the last couple of days the prices of all of them have all decided to take a dip, and I think a lot of that has to do with some new potential regulation that they're trying to push. They're trying to regulate the exchanges specifically to try to prevent fraud, I guess. I would argue that fraud's a good thing for crypto and stuff like that, because especially early on in the game, it allows everybody to kind of figure out how the hackers are getting in and how they're figuring out and how it gives everybody to create an opportunity to create a solution without the force of the state coming in and saying, hey, we'll solve it for you, because we know how well that works out every time. Anyway, that being said, that's kind of a side note, to be honest, but what I'm really excited about is there's a number of crypto projects that are going on. Blockchain projects rather, that are going on right now that I'm really excited about. that they're taking this concept of the blockchain and doing so much cool shit with it. We've got it's more than currency. Okay, that's just one application. Now, what the best way I can explain it to people so far is that when you look at the blockchain is like your operating system, like your Windows operating system or like your Android operating system. And then all of like the cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin specifically, or like all the applications that are built to run on the Ethereum blockchain are like your apps or your programs that you run on your operating system. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So far, you with me so far?
So far.
So one of the apps that I have heard of that I'm really excited about, and even though I don't really care about sports or football at all, is they're taking this idea of fantasy sports and they're applying it to the real world, where instead of being an armchair quarterback and just sitting there in your living room and yelling at the team and telling them what they should have fucking done, like, oh my god, I can't believe you didn't do, instead of doing that, you can actually hop on your app and through participation on the particular blockchain through a tokenized system, you can participate in the game by voting on the different moves that people can make. You can vote on the team players that join. You can vote. They've actually already done a pilot where they have a real world team playing up where I believe it's in Oregon or Washington. I can't remember the specifics, but the idea is that eventually, with a big enough community, that you could have a bunch of teams that are community owned, decentralized teams. And the more you participate and the more correct calls you make that end up earning, say you make a call that earns the team 6 yards, all of a sudden you get those stats added to your profile, and your profile becomes just a little bit stronger in terms of your voting power. It's pretty fascinating the way this is working out. And like I said, I don't care about football at all, but I would definitely help support a project like this because I can see the great potential and the great amount of market potential here. It's insane. It's insane. Ooh.
It reminds me a lot of what some people do on Twitch. They open up choices within games and how they play the game to the chat. The chat votes or straw polls, and they do a different thing than how they would normally do a playthrough. And it's quite interesting, but it's not as fiscally interactive.
Right. Now Twitch is like that, except I think what you're talking about, anybody could join the stream and participate in the voting process. You don't have like different levels of participation, or you don't level up your character, so to speak, in order to gain a stronger amount of the voting power in this case.
True.
So that's what makes the people who are like into it and really paying attention to what the team's been doing and what the strong suits of the players are, and all the strengths and weaknesses and stuff. That's what allows them to have more voting power. And then the people who are just entering, they can vote also, but they're not going to have as much influence over the general course of the game until they have accumulated more experience, so to speak, for their own. And what I thought was cool is if the team ends up winning, you end up winning. Like you could actually earn money by helping your team come to win. Like it's a much bigger team now, and everybody gets to share in the profits.
Yeah, that's nice. But I was distracted a little bit.
No, you're fine. That's just one of many potential things that I've found that is pretty exciting in the crypto industry. There's a number of different projects, and that one just particular has stuck out in my mind as one that I think will be a great bridge to get people into the crypto world instead of coming through the currency pathway.
That reminds me of today's memory on Facebook was a Bernie Sanders meme. Angry Jew yells at capitalism. Capitalism is like the only way we can harness the greed and necessarily somewhat bad parts of humanity in order to get something good out of it. Because if I benefit and you benefit, where's the problem?
Yeah. I don't understand that the whole concept of capitalism is bad. I've been participating in a number of anarchist groups on Facebook, and it was really surprising because I thought I had a pretty good grasp on what anarchism is, and it seems like I don't want to say I'm right and they're wrong, but quite frankly, I'm fucking right and they're wrong for the most part. It's like I don't.
Ooh, are you dealing mostly with the narco cops? Because there's like 6 different anarchy groups that
There's a
are.
bunch. I didn't realize how divided the anarchist community is. I thought we all kind of agreed the state's bad. Let's get rid of it. However, you've got some people in there that are arguing for the definition of state. Well, as long as you have this and this, you still are in a state of being. So therefore, you can never not have a state. I'm like, dude, there is multiple meanings for the word state. Shut the fuck up with the semantics, man. I mean, we've got a mission here of trying to, shut down evil in the world, and here you want to bicker about the meaning of state. I've got another guy in there that wants to keep bickering with me about how something about the word rule meaning actual rules versus like somebody ruling over you, like being under a system of rule. Like he wants to get caught up on the semantics of the word rule instead of actually discussing the bigger issues and stuff that we can actually have an effect over. Like, dude, it's so frustrating. So I'm probably going to leave those groups. Let's just say that.
I can definitely argue the various levels of government, because I deal with that in one of my courses that I offer.
Mhm.
But you can get really, really deep on the semantics of things. And since I make most of my jokes and things on semantics, you can guess how much time I've spent in the minutia of things.
Okay, so trying to move on from a little bit of that here. Yeah, because I agree. If you get caught up in the minutia, everybody gets bogged down and nothing actually gets accomplished. It's pretty frustrating, quite frankly, to sit there and get in these discussions, because I'm sitting here thinking, as I'm in the middle of a discussion, somehow caught up in this dumb argument. It's like, okay, well, I could be going out and creating a video right now in my office instead of arguing with your dumbass right now. Anyway. So, I want to trying to figure out what direction I want to go with this. So, let me throw out another idea for use of the blockchain technology that you might be interested in. I don't know. Maybe you're not. Who knows? Give me just a second here. I gotta find my notes here because I keep track of all of them, but not very well. Where are you at? Oh dear. I've taken more notes than I thought.
Oh,
dude, I know I write a lot when I'm at work. I write a lot of notes down. I just didn't.
I have almost 2 notebooks full of notes for future blog posts and things. I completely understand.
Yeah,
And I just kind of have to guess what my handwriting says sometimes.
Okay. So a couple interesting ones that I thought to bring up, which keep in mind, all of these are built or are being built currently on the Ethereum blockchain, which gives me a lot of. I'm not a financial advisor, so take this with a grain of salt, please. But I do strongly feel like as these programs come out in the next coming year, which they are set to do here in the next couple months, I think the Ethereum blockchain is going to see a huge resurgence and become an honest to goodness serious competitor with Bitcoin. Right now, they're sitting usually around 10% of what the value of a Bitcoin is, and I feel like in this year they're gonna reach parity at some point. That being said, one of the applications that somebody's building on it is a game called Crypto Hunt. Now, this game has been modeled after the game Pokemon Go. Now, you remember that and how big of a freaking deal that was?
Oh, that was like 3 solid months of gaming, of everyone doing it, everyone complaining about it.
And people were getting off their asses and they were getting out in the world and they were talking with people, and there was like a community around it for a little while until people like started dying from walking out in traffic.
Or trespassing, or
there's that.
law.
Idiots. At any rate, that being said, there's this one that's called Crypto Hunt, and then their idea is to create these little riddles and treasure hunts kind of scenario that's based on the kind of Pokemon Go platform, where you can go out and you can start hunting for crypto, and you can actually solve riddles and go to different places, and you can actually earn actual crypto, spendable crypto that you can either use in game for power-ups or whatever the case may be, or you can use it to trade with other players in game, or you can just cash out and trade it in for US dollar or your other favorite form of crypto. I was like, that sounds phenomenal. I would love to play that. Yes.
Oh yeah.
So that's another one. Does that sound entertaining to you at all? I'm guessing you played the Pokemon Go game.
I have not, but it reminds me of one of my favorite game series, the Stalker series, where you would get these locations of stashes, and you could get either some really good loot from it or be completely disappointed and search the next stash box.
Ah, okay, I got you. So, one of the other last crypto platform I'm going to bring up before we move on to the next topic is there is a group putting together another program called Spank Chain. And what do you think that means when you hear that? I see the look on your face.
There's a couple of places that I go with when I hear that, and they're all sexual.
And you would be correct. That is exactly what it is. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, the porn industry is interested in crypto. Let's see what they have to offer. And
well, if we look, it was early part of 2017. Pornhub was cracking down on people getting viruses, and we're protecting people's privacy by making anonymous viewing even more robust, for lack of a better term. So there's a bunch of memes about it that a private organization peddling in somewhat questionable content is doing more for people's privacy than the federal government and the FCC combined with ISPs.
I got the guy telling me he's coming on, and I haven't quite heard from him just yet. I think he disappeared. All right, I see him. Okay. Hey, James, join the stream. I guess I sent you the link. I think you can join after the stream started, can't you?
Oh, you definitely can. You just have to make sure it's the Google Hangouts from the little box, and not just the connect to the video chat one. Oh. It has to be within the box, not the hyperlink.
Not the hyperlink?
Not the hyperlink. The one at the top URL in the little box for that. That's the one you have to send.
I need to send him that one?
Yes. Otherwise, if you send him the hyperlink, they're just going to be in the audience and chatting in the...
Oh. Oops. Okay, there. I send him the actual link, and maybe he can hop in. Oh, he's fixing his face. Sorry, I thought maybe I just sent the wrong link. I think I probably did send the... Who knows? We'll find out. He's got to fix his face. Your face is fine. I mean, have you seen me and Trent here?
I am as white as a sheet because I have crappy lighting in here. I don't think I can look any worse.
My lighting's fantastic, and it makes my ugly stand out even more. That's fantastic. At any rate, all right. So he said he's got the link. He's all good. He'll hop in. So I'm trying to drag this on as long as I can, so maybe actually still have something for you, for you to talk about with us, sir. So come on in. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was saying about the Spank Chain concept is that right now, one of the problems in the porn industry is with the cam girls. When you pay them right now, you're paying the website. The website is going through a payment provider, and the payment provider's taking their cut. The website's taking their cut. And by the time your payment gets all the way down to the actual girl you're watching, or guy, I don't care what you're into, whatever. Once you get down to that level, they're not really getting a whole lot of that money. I want to say they're getting around 5 to 10 cents for every dollar you spend on that. It's not a lot at all.
It sounds more like exploitation than capitalism.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it might be capitalism, but just with a poor solution. But problem is that they can't use things like PayPal or anything like that, because PayPal, it goes against their terms of service. So as soon as they figure out that they're doing adult service type things, then they're shut down immediately. So basically, there's one major payment processing center that will actually handle or deal with this industry. Now, Spank Chain, what it aims to do is make it so that people who are watching your videos can actually pay the girls directly. And I think that there's a small fee for the website that they're hosted on and stuff like that. Everybody gets paid, but it's definitely a lot more money than you would have made going the other route. So it's pretty neat. And if it actually does work out and the porn industry takes off as a result, I'm just saying Ethereum could skyrocket up, and your little Spank Chain tokens, if that's what you're into, if you want to invest money in those specifically.
I was not expecting to be discussing this Wednesday night, but this is now the second weirdest conversation of the week.
No, it's just I just wanted to highlight, everybody hears about this blockchain and crypto or blah, 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 blah. You got that? Okay. Everyone
Yes.
wants to talk about blockchain and crypto technology and cryptocurrency and all that stuff, and they think about the applications in the financial sector, the actual money aspect of it. And I just want to try to point out that yeah, there's going to be a lot more applications of this than you can even imagine. Like this thing is going to disrupt so many, like a ridiculous amount of different services and stuff. Boy, my vocabulary is fantastic tonight. I have such a rich sounding vocabulary. It's fantastic. Anyway,
All I can think of is I want my tactical nuke with the
You're-
Ethereum.
oh, Ethereum tactical nuke, is that a thing? That could be a thing. That'd be all right.
That could be a thing. That's going to be a thing. Please be a thing.
So basically, anything that you can think of that maybe there's like a third party person in the middle of the mix. Say, if I want to sell my house to you, I could do that directly on the Ethereum blockchain through smart contracts. I don't have to go through a mortgage company. Like if you wanna finance it, you can finance it. Whatever. If I want to just pay you cash directly, I can do that. I don't have to worry about going through a home mortgage lender or any kind of third party person. I can,
Maybe like how they did it back in like the 1500s with direct pay.
pretty much. It's a lot more similar to like it used to be. And yeah. And
Not necessarily a bad thing.
no, not at all. And it takes the middleman out, which also takes the middleman's cost out of the equation too, which makes everything cheaper.
It does, but sometimes people don't know who to look for. So middlemen do serve a purpose to a degree, but still middleman costs.
Right. I mean, yeah, they could still have a place. I'm not necessarily saying it's going to erase all of them completely. I mean, even though, people used to drive around horse-drawn carriages all the time. Well, the inventor of the automobile did basically get rid of all of them except a few that, still are necessary for the small, tiny industry that there is.
Yeah.
At any rate, let's move on to another topic. How about that? Well, yeah, how much time you got? You got?
I'm free for quite some time.
Quite some time. Okay, so I don't want to keep you too long if you want to. Anyway, so,
I'm just gonna hop on with some friends in a different chat. This is completely fine.
Okay, cool. So let me bring up the topic of this is just rumor, as far as I can tell, but also the sources that I'm getting the information from have been pretty legitimate sources in the past. So I'm taking this with a grain of salt +2. Okay, like a little bit more than You with me so far? Okay, so I'm hearing a lot of whispers about a Hillary Clinton and Huma Aberdeen video that features them doing sexual acts to a small child. Again, I'm not saying this is true, but what I am saying is that it is possible that it is true.
Okay, when I first heard this, I was thinking Hillary and Uma, thinking that was a very desperate situation. It just got worse. I didn't think it could get any worse.
Yeah. So from what I understand, the investigation into Uma Everdeen, however the hell you pronounce your name, the investigation into her husband Anthony Weiner's his tastes, if you will, that ended up turning up some other information that I guess videos of some other stuff that probably the mainstream media doesn't want you to see, that the deep state doesn't want you to see, that everybody that I can tell has been talking about this stuff. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't have a lot of, I can't speak a lot on it because I don't know a lot, but I was just curious if you had heard anything or if you know anything. This is strictly in the realm of rumor at this point, and I want to be completely clear about that.
I have not heard of anything. I was under the impression that most of Anthony Weiner's dalliances were with young eligible women who caught his eye or something along those lines, not to the extent of possible pedophilia. This is like a few steps farther with rumors of Bill Clinton's style of debauchery, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. You now I do remember back during the Bill Clinton days when you heard about this, the term Lolita Express kept coming to mind, and you heard about this flight that would go down to another country, and they'd be constantly taking known pedophiles to this little island or little location, this secluded, out of the way location, and who God only knows what they were doing down there. And it's just all these little tidbits of information keep coming out that kind of keep pointing that direction. But nothing that's like totally like been the smoking gun. Does that make sense? Like, yeah.
A lot of rumor, a lot of smoke and mirror, but it's like, you know it's happening, but you can't prove it, and it chaps your hide.
Right. It kind of like the whole DNC email WikiLeaks thing that came out. Like, it was the same exact thing. It's like, everybody knows this is going on. We're all talking about it. We all are aware and connecting these dots, but the dots are so disparate that you can't quite put it together. Just, you can't quite connect the dots enough for the public consciousness to really grasp it and say, yeah, oh, okay, I see what's going on here.
It's one of those things where you see in the movies where they got the pin board with the red twine and the thumbtacks. That's how separate everything is in the world of rumor.
Yeah, you ain't lying. You ain't lying. Anyway, that's about all I had on that particular topic. From what I did hear about this video, if it is going to drop, it's supposed to drop here in the next week or so. We're talking about next 4 or 5 days, I would say. Hopefully, if it does before the weekend when people aren't paying attention to the news cycle. Who knows? We'll see. So, moving on to the next topic, and probably one of the last topics. So, I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet and give our audience a chance to ask some questions. We've got 4 viewers tonight, and I really appreciate that. So that's fantastic for our first run go of this. And again, Trent, I do want to thank you for joining me on such short notice. That does mean a lot to me. kind of helps me take the ease the nervousness and anxiety of putting on a show and trying to speak to a camera by myself.
It's completely fine. If I'm free, you can always ask me back on.
Ooh, that sounds hot. Sounds hot. Sorry. I can't help. Look, I can't help it. All right.
Things. Oh no, I can make this as weird as possible if you want.
Do it. Make it really weird.
Oh yes, it's so fabulous.
No. Oh, you did that way too good. Way too good. But not as good as me.
Girl, I think I can do it a bit better.
Dude, did you just fucking assume my gender?
Oh, did I? I don't know. Did you assume mine?
Look, I'm offended. I don't even appreciate that. I'm offended as hell. I can't even talk to you right now. I'm not even going to look at the camera. Okay, I'm going to look at the camera because this is weird. Anyway.
I said I can make it weird.
So, I appreciate that. That was awesome. Anyway, so moving on to the last topic, and I wanted to talk about the Florida shooting. And this is something that I feel like everybody knows a little bit of something about and is certainly aware of a lot of the different angles that people have been talking about and the different kind of political agendas people are trying to push and that kind of thing. Let me just open up the floor to you first of all, Trent, and just kind of get your take on the whole Florida shooter thing, just as you've seen it unfold over the last few weeks here.
Well, I haven't been following it too closely. Just the deep rumblings from the mainstream media, the distasteful call for gun control, and all the stuff that happens after a mass shooting. And of course, I deal with a lot of, not necessarily law enforcement, but firearms community advocates and things like that. And they're pissed, most likely, for the most part. One guy I was talking to earlier today is not happy with the performance of the law enforcement that decided to stay outside or slavishly follow the orders they were given while people's lives were literally at stake and being lost during the incident. Yeah, it's not a very good thing. It's definitely not being handled very well by the Trump administration at all.
Well, as far as the officer that stayed outside, for what I understand, is that he was actually following orders, that he was told to stay outside, to stand down.
I thought it was 4 deputies that were following orders.
Well, however many there were, that was part of their actual commands. Now, the problem is one of the big things that's coming to be a problem is that the radio contacts and the radio broadcast that was going on between officers and whatnot, you can't find them. And from what I understand, they've actually said, "Oh, you probably will never hear them. We're not going to release them." I'm like, that's interesting because
That's a problem.
yeah. So in the Las Vegas shooting, there is absolutely no video footage of Stephen Paddock. Still no video footage of him going in and coming out, or just generally just bringing his bags to the hotel room. Or not. I mean, you're talking about arguably the most videotaped location on Earth, and they got nothing. Like, really, that's bullshit. There's something being hidden, and I think in this case, that's the same thing. I've been I got sent a video a while ago about this, and that video, I watched the first 20 minutes of it or so. It was a 30-minute video, and by the time I couldn't finish it. I needed to drive home. I got home and I was going to bring it back up and finish the last 10 minutes, and it was showing a bunch of different footage and stuff that proves that the time signatures were all off, and that these people are lying. And by the time I got back to it, it was already gone. The video is gone. I can't find it anywhere. So I have no idea what the last 10 minutes held, and I hope that he at least covered the big important topics in the beginning of it.
Always a good thing to try to strive for.
Yeah, it was really weird, and this isn't the first time this has happened. We're talking about, let me see. Boy, I can't find it now. Anyway, so we've all been aware of the kid who is the son of the FBI agent. Talking about, what's his name, Ham or whatever.
Yeah, the chief spokesperson that they've been having of the students.
Yeah, I did see some information that showed that his father was actually on the 9/11 commission as well. Yeah, that's what I found was a little funny. Again, make sure, I mean, any of the stuff that we're talking about here, if you're watching this, make sure you do your own research. Don't take my word for it, because I could be totally full of shit. I'm just telling you as the information comes to me, how I get it, the most validated way I can possibly give it back, I guess.
To legally cover our asses, this is mostly conjecture and opinion. So
right.
Don't take it as fact.
So this video that I watched was talking about how there was numerous eyewitness accounts of somebody wearing full body armor, full military gear, some kind of like militaristic weapon they've never seen before. I'm hearing that from the time the Uber driver dropped this guy off to the time the shooting started was about 2 minutes. It wasn't that long. So that means that he would have had to either be in full gear in the Uber, okay, or he would have had to somehow had the stuff inside and been able to switch clothing like at breakneck record speeds by the time you get in there. And not to mention that he was actually, there was a witness that said she was walking out of the school and was talking to what's his name, Nicholas Cruz was talking to him, and she said to him, "Wow, I'm really surprised that it wasn't you. I thought you would have been the shooter." And he looked at her like, "Huh?" Now, she interpreted that after the fact as he was just playing dumb. But there's also the possibility that he really didn't know what the fuck was going on, you know? Because he wasn't in full body armor. I didn't hear any reports of them finding full body armor in the school. The police officers they had a training, they went through training ahead of this for an active shooter situation, and were instructed in this scenario to stand down. Like, there's a lot of little shit in here. Like, I'm hearing reports of multiple shooters. There's just too much. It's too much stuff coming in that counteracts the main narrative. And it's just enough to give me pause and go, wait. I don't know who did it. I don't know what happened. And the problem is the mainstream narrative ain't right either. So what is right? Any of this, like, you seem surprised at some of these things I'm throwing out there.
Well, yeah, that's because I haven't really been following it, nor do I put my ear to the rumor hole too much. But it's, some of it is believable, some of it is not. That's just the nature of these things. And I always like to reserve judgment and not comment too much on them, because I don't know the truth. I don't know everything. There was a recent discussion online. An individual was asking a legitimate question, which is, what does, I think it was the Fourth or Fifth Amendment do? Fifth Amendment. How does it not just benefit criminals? And he says, if you know the truth, you have a duty to inform whoever's questioning you of that. And since I have a decent study into legal things, you cannot verifiably say that you have the absolute truth. Everyone has a bias. Everyone has experienced different things. They interpret things differently. So you don't have all the truth. You can get all the factors together, and two and two will equal six and not four, depending on how they're put together and how they're interpreted. It's not a cut and dried thing with every single case. It's not a cut and dried thing with every single event.
Yeah, and that's why when you're a journalist, you're supposed to go out and get multiple sources of information. You can't just take the one source and just run with it, because that, like you said, that source could be a biased source of information, and you can't look at that and go, that's the story, there it is. You just can't do that. You have to get multiple sources of information and try to piece together what happened out of all that, as far as everybody's stories do kind of intersect. That's where your truth is found.
It's called inductive reasoning. That's the method used.
I'm gonna go. Sure, that sounds about right. I'm not 100% familiar with my rationality terms and phrases and all that, but that does sound correct. So yeah, there was another thing that really caught my eye is this one blows my mind, because what it showed was the victims of the attack on camera discussing what had happened. And you see them talking about how, oh my God, this thing happened and la 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 la. We need to stop. We need, it was a very strong, we need gun control in this country right now kind of message. Okay. Right after they've been just gotten into this serious problem. Now, that would be okay. That wouldn't set off any red flags, except the problem is that video was shot, timestamped at 9:32 a.m. The attack didn't happen until 2:15 p.m. Right?
Well, that seems odd. That, and also people after getting shot technically would probably be in shock, and they would definitely not be in charge of their logical faculties.
Yeah.
Is one of the reasons why we're supposed to keep our mouth shut.
So the kid who is the son of the FBI agent, he was the one filming on the camera and trying to coach the girl and telling him and talk about diversity. Something about diversity. You could hear him whispering to her and feeding her lines of what she's supposed to say. It's like, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? And it feels like, okay, this is me just completely just, this is what it feels like based on the information that I have, that I feel like is the most valid sources of information. I feel like that maybe, yes, 17 kids did die that day, that yes, there was a lot of injured people in there. Do I feel like that Nicholas Cruz did it? Not really. Not really. I don't understand what's going on behind the scenes there. I don't understand a lot of what's going on with that, but do I feel like he did it? No. Do I feel like our federal government probably did it? It's very likely. Have they done shit like this in the past? Yes. I mean, it's not beyond the scope of possibility that you go in and, I don't know, burn an entire school down just to keep people shut up. That they've done this before. It's been proven. They've released the documents of past atrocities. They've sat there and tried to create false flags in the past. Proven. So for this to be outside the realm of possibility, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's something that definitely needs to be thought about, or at least considered. Anyway, that's all I got on that. But that's just where my head is on that right now. I don't know. I probably looked into it a little too much, not meaning to. My cousin's the one that sent me that video. That's why I checked it out more than I would have from just a random source. But at any rate, so let's finish this episode out. Okay, by opening it up for questions. David Hogg, thank you for that clarification on the name. I said Ham. Yeah.
It's close though.
I was close. I am terrible with names, so please bear with me when I'm trying to report these things, because the names are not going to come out well. So out of our 4 viewers we have tonight, I'm just kind of curious if you guys have any particular questions to pose to me or to Trent here, especially since you probably haven't really watched our channels much, or maybe you don't know what we're about. Maybe you want a little more information. Feel free to throw some questions our way, and we'll try to answer them as best we can. And I sure do appreciate you coming on and the people watching tonight. This has actually been a lot of fun. So I feel like I'm going to do this some more. And I mean, you're welcome to come back and join us again if you want to, Trent.
Let me know, and I'll see if I can make time.
All right. And I'll try to give you more than like an hour notice. It was like 45 minutes.
It was 20 minutes. It was 20 minutes.
Oh, was it? Oh shit. I'll try to give you more than, well, to be technical, I did text you 2 hours ago. It just took you that long to find the message.
Really? Because it only popped up. No, I'm not tied to my phone when I'm at home, so.
All right, yeah. It's all good. I'm not even mad. I do really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. At any rate, I'm trying to see if anybody has any questions. All right, so we've got a question here. It says, oh, somebody wants to hear about the Megan Barry scandal. Nice.
Maybe James can talk about it because he just popped on.
James. So, as we're wrapping up with about 5 minutes to go or so, we've got James popping in.
Do another hour.
Do another hour? Yeah. Except I have to work tomorrow.
Oh, shit. I jumped in just at the last moment, gentlemen.
Oh, there he is. I can hear him.
and my camera is not working, so give me a second. Give me a second, because the people need to see my beautiful face.
You've been working on it for like 55 minutes now.
So you overseas? Because it's like 4 or 5 in the morning in the UK, or tomorrow if you're in Australia.
Australia.
I'm coming at you from the future.
Technically, he is. Yes, he is.
I am in the future.
This is the second Aussie I have to deal with overseas.
So welcome to my humble little virgin launch show here, Mr. Chris.
No, it's very good. I actually got my times completely mixed up because you said initially, because you said Wednesday, and I should be well enough versed now to remember that I am coming from the future when compared to North America.
Oh, shit. And Thursday morning, isn't it?
And so I was like, oh, okay, so the live stream didn't happen, and then my tired ass woke up really late today, and you're like, oh, we're going live in 30 minutes. I'm like, oh, we are now, are we?
I had a mix-up like that on one of the shows I do.
I didn't know I needed a link. Shoot. Sorry. Nicole says she would have joined us, but I didn't send the link. You got to be more persistent. I didn't know. I'm so sorry, ma'am. We'll get you next week.
I had something like that with a show that I did. I asked him, I sent him the stuff. He said, I guess nothing's going to happen tonight. It's like, you're supposed to inform me. But it's like, it's your job as the host. Like, okay, you got me there. I should have been more diligent. But this is a good start for you, man.
Yeah. Chris, if you weren't certain that if you thought I canceled yesterday, you didn't ask me.
No. It was I'll take that completely on myself, man. It was my stuff up entirely. But I have been listening to you guys chat, and it's been really good. I did want to jump in here at the point you guys were talking about the shooting and all that sort of stuff, because I wanted to jump in and just be like, hey, have I joined the Alex Jones show or?
Yeah. But before I mean, there was a couple questions that came up in the chat. I mean, you can, if you wanted to talk about this Florida shooter a little bit before we answer the questions, that would be.
I don't have much to say about it, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, you probably watch Nicole and I's channel. We just tend to talk about crap, and we tend to talk about trannies a lot. Anything that's serious, I really don't have much to say.
All right then. Well, here's something that's not so serious. Now there's a story that's been developing here in Nashville about our mayor Megan Barry, who was caught having an affair with somebody. And I don't know a lot about this, so I can't speak intelligibly on this particular topic because I'm hearing about this through guys at work and then passing on the radio on the way home. I don't know a lot, but what I do know is they did tend to spend a lot of time, getting it on in cemeteries, before and after shift. It was pretty interesting, and everybody was pissed off because they were using taxpayer dollars because at least the guy was on the clock while doing this, from what I understand, and she was just fired or resigned or something and fined with like a $10,000 fine for that, like for stealing from the public or something to that effect. Quite frankly, I could give a shit. I mean, we're talking about politics. Politics is fine and all, but I'm interested in principles. And yeah, if your whole model is built on stealing from the people to do what's good for the people, you're already starting off on the wrong foot. So to be surprised that our public officials are doing evil or doing wrong or somehow doing what the public doesn't really want them to do, that doesn't surprise me at all. It's like you have an illegal alien crossing the border and then surprised that he breaks another crime or breaks another law. I'm like, come on, guys, this is not that big of a news story. It's really not. It's kind of just like, oh, you caught me. You haven't caught the rest of them yet, though.
I had a similar conversation with somebody today. It was about trophy hunting, trophies being allowed back in to the U.S. On a case-by-case basis. And one guy was very upset that this was happening because the money that goes from trophy hunting doesn't actually go to help support the animals staying alive, but it's drained off from the profits by corrupt officials in Africa. So you shouldn't be doing that because the money is going to drug kingpins and warlords, so don't do that. My rebuttal to it was, and I guess we should stop paying taxes because that's roughly the exact same thing with that rationale.
So you sound a little bit like an anarchist to me. I'm just saying. I'm
a libertarian or a minarchist by definition, but I'm just a random guy in the DRI.
I've still got to figure out what the hell emotional attachment you have to the government and the idea that we need it. Yeah, we'll figure that out later. We don't have to get into that now because we've already ran about an hour on the show. So, but we'll have to definitely get into that a little bit deeper later on.
You know what I want to get into? What I really want to know is
transvestites.
No.
Oh,
what was it? The governor or the mayor of your city? This woman who was having the affair?
It was Nashville.
Nashville, yeah. What was she? Was she the governor or the mayor?
Mayor, Nashville mayor. And I was informed it was the head security detail that she was having the affair with.
Well, that's some close protection then.
And hold up. They were knocking boots in cemeteries? Like they were getting it on tombstones? Like that's like what the fuck?
Well, I mean, pulling their SUV into a cemetery, into a secluded area, for about 10 to 25 minutes per visit, and then they were on their merry little way.
Oh, that's so morose. Why don't you just go and book a motel room?
Because, that would be just too, there's no excitement in that, I don't know.
Yeah.
To be quite frank, I am a big fan of getting it on in a cemetery. I've done it before. It's a lot of fun, actually. At night in a cemetery. What? It is fun.
What?
I'm weird, but I'm an atheist, dude. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's no spirits, there's no ghosts, there's none of that weird zombie-like shit. It's just fucking dead bodies under the ground. It's very peaceful. There's nobody to bother you.
Well, as they say, the dead tell no tales.
That's true. That's true. And as far as I know, my tales have not been told except from me because I'm living and I'm telling it to you right now, to my millions of listeners.
Yeah.
You're regretting that decision now, aren't you?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm pretty open book, man. I'm pretty open book. I mean, there's nothing that you can't ask me that I won't tell you for the most part.
Do the curtains match the carpet?
Oh yeah. Look at this. Look at brown hair. Okay, hat head, brown hair, red beard. So when you ask me if the carpet matches the drapes, I have no fucking idea because I don't know which one you refer to as the drapes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I was just fucking around, but isn't it really funny that, like, I mean, I've got like brown or black hair, as you know, and when I grow a beard, and I've still got to send you a picture of when I had a ZZ Top beard. Like my beard was down to like my nipples, and anyway, like I would have mass amounts of red hair in there. Like all guys, when they grow a beard, even if they're not ginger, they get ginger in their beard.
I can confirm this. My hair is kind of reddish brown, and my beard is reddish brown and blonde. It's
Mr. Blonde.
It's weird. It's 3 colors, and I've always had the same hair color. It's weird biology.
I see you haven't figured out your camera problem just yet. My problem is I had OS.
No idea why it's not working. Like I
had my OBS program running in the background, and once I shut it down, it decided to run. So is there another program in the background that's trying to run your camera right now? Maybe that could be it. And did you try to plug and replug your camera?
Yeah, I've unplugged just now, replugged it back in. It should be working.
Have you allowed Chrome to use your camera?
Pardon me?
Have you allowed Chrome to use your camera?
Yeah. I always use this camera in on Google Hangouts. Nicole and I use Google Hangouts every week for our show, and I've never had a problem when my camera doesn't work. So this is very weird.
This is my first time using Google Hangouts, and it's actually kind of cool. I kind of like it. Except
I like its simplicity.
Huh?
I like how simple it is, especially since I'm usually technologically illiterate. It's so simple I can use it in an effective way.
Is Skype open, Chris?
No, it is not. The only things I've got open right now is Google Chrome, iMessage, iTunes, which I'm closing, and Spotify, which I'm closing. I'm toggling camera on and off here in Google Hangouts. It's not going to work. I don't know.
Okay. That's all good. We'll get it next time. No worries. No worries.
Yeah.
No worries. Was there any other thing you wanted to comment on of the previous topics that we spoke about before you were able to join us?
No, not particularly. I think you guys covered everything pretty darn well. Was there any questions from the live chat? If you're watching the live chat right now,
yeah, I'm watching the live chat, and it seems like Nicole's feeling very ignored. Not intentionally. It's just I got to look way over here to try to see my stuff. Again, I don't have my setup very ergonomical just yet. I apologize for that.
We'll send her the link. You can do another 15 minutes. That's not going to impact your day tomorrow.
No.
I'll send Nicole the URL right now.
Okay.
There we go.
That was the question. She asked if there was she said there's a video of what looked like SWAT entering the school and coming out with a couple of large bags. I did not see that, but I did hear about it on the podcast that I was listening to. That was just yet another piece of the puzzle that, suggests that there's something a little bit more than meets the eye going on with this particular issue. All right. Yeah, so I would recommend, I don't know what the truth is about this particular problem or this particular school shooting issue, but I would like to recommend that people who are paying attention to this stuff, if you hear about these mass events and these mass atrocities and things like that, try to really zero in and pay attention to what the narrative is versus what the actual facts are, and see, okay, wait a minute, if stuff ain't adding up, man, start digging in a little bit and expose that shit, because a lot of people, they only get what CNN tells them, and then by the time they've seen the CNN feed, they just accept that, oh well, that must be the truth, and that's the story, and then they go on and go tell all their friends that, and that shit spreads around, and it takes forever for this other stuff to get out.
I think, like, just from sort of personal experience with this sort of stuff, that the moment you see children or adolescents, for that matter, being used as pawns, for lack of a better word, to politicize tragedies, then you've got to start questioning things. You know, like
Absolutely.
what was that dead Syrian baby on the beach? You remember that from like 2015?
Yeah, the one where they showed him laying down on the ground dead,
Face down.
yeah, and it was such a heartbreaking picture. And then all of a sudden, that was I don't remember what the purpose of that was, but I do remember the picture very vividly.
But it's like that sort of thing. Like as soon as you see children being used to push some sort of political narrative, you have to question what the agenda is, because children are a very powerful weapon to tug at people's heartstrings. I mean, remember that movie Wag the Dog?
No, I didn't see it.
You've got to watch the movie Wag the Dog. It had, hey sister, who was in Wag the Dog?
I don't know. I don't watch sad things.
I think it was like Dustin Hoffman and De Niro. And anyway, it's basically like a comedy, like a black comedy about a false flag. So what they do is they fake it was from about 95, and they fake a war. And they like computer generate this footage of this girl fleeing this war zone. It kind of looks like Bosnia or something. And yeah, it's really crazy. And yeah, they utilized a child for their propaganda to get people on side with what they were saying. I'm not doing a particularly good job of describing this movie, but
Trent, I'd like to introduce you to Miss Nicole and Chris. They have a YouTube channel that they do together.
Hello.
And they just hop on and say hello. I appreciate you coming on and hanging out for a little while, guys.
I actually managed to get home at a relative time, and I sent you a message that I could join, but you were distracted.
Sorry, I did not see that message.
That's okay.
I see it now. Yeah.
I see your Black Butler memorabilia in the background.
Duh.
So this is kind of just for future reference. This is kind of the format I think I would like to do, is just, you know, if there's interesting stories that come up in the week throughout the week, maybe take a note of it, and I'll try to bring up a few bullet point ideas, and we'll just discuss some of the major stuff that's been happening in the news or whatever. Because the reason being is because I have a hard time making individual episodes for all these different things with my work schedule and whatnot, and it takes a lot of time to edit. So I mean, this kind of raw version here, where we just kind of spitball what's going on and discuss it with people, it allows me the opportunity to get the message out, and it allows you guys the opportunity to also get to share those ideas and get to express those with your audience as well. So I mean, if that's something you'd be interested in doing on a weekly basis with me, I would love to have you guys along.
Will it be around the same time and day?
That I don't know. What I'm trying to do is I'm going to try this same time and same day out for a few weeks, see how that goes.
Okay.
If it doesn't feel like it's working out very well or not very conducive, maybe I'm, the people that are trying to watch would have preferred I did it on a different day, because that's really honestly who we're doing this for, to be quite frank.
Okay, well, if you shoot me an invite in the DMs, I can probably join. This is right around the time that I've just finished feeding my kids, so this will generally work-ish if you want me on.
Work-ish. Okay. Yeah, we'll give it a shot for a few weeks, just see how it goes, and keep you guys in the loop, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to go ahead and close out the episode now.
Awesome.
And head off to bed, because I got to be up at 4 a.m. for work. Because,
sleep is for the weak.
Yeah, I know.
Sleep is the cousin of death.
I know. I'm a weak bitch. Okay, I'm a weak bitch. You guys caught me.
I'm taking note, and I'm holding it against you.
You're so basic, man.
No, I'm not a basic bitch. I'm anything but that. All right, y'all. Peace out. Y'all been watching Unframe of Mind. I will be sure to go back and retroactively include everybody's links in this episode if you want to check out their YouTube channel, Twitter accounts, and all that good stuff. Or not. It's up to you. I don't care. I'm not your dad. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. But
I like
Daddy.
All right, peace out, y'all. Now this is the awkward part where I figured out how to stop broadcast.